I'm John Taylor, a successful businessman in my early 40s. I thought I had it all, a thriving career, a beautiful home, and a blissful marriage with Emily, my wife of 15 years. She's an acclaimed artist, and we met in college, sharing dreams of a life filled with mutual respect and love. That all changed one unassuming Tuesday morning. A server issue at work meant I was operating from my home office. Emily had already rushed out to her studio, leaving her laptop open on the desk across from me. As I waited for my computer to boot up, a new email notification flashed on her screen. I know I shouldn't have looked, but curiosity got the better of me. Maybe it was about a gallery show or a buyer interested in her art. I told myself I'd just take a quick peek before focusing on my work. Those innocent intentions shattered the moment I read the email. It was from Alex, an artist Emily had recently collaborated with. But the tone wasn't professional at all. Tender endearments and flirtatious lines filled the message, making plans for a rendezvous later that week. My heart pounded as I scrolled through their email history, each message more damning than the last. A series of romantic exchanges and shared dreams of running away together, leaving me in the dark. I felt sick to my stomach, the room spinning around me. How could Emily do this? After everything we'd been through, the life we'd built together, was it all a lie? John? You home? Emily's voice made me jump. I quickly minimized the window, my hands shaking. She breezed into the room, still in her paint-splattered overalls, and kissed my cheek. Sorry, I forgot my sketchbook. Have a good day at work, babe. I managed a tight smile, watching her grab the book and head back out, oblivious to the fact that my world had just crumbled around me. The emails burned into my mind all day. I went through the motions of my meetings and calls, nodding along while my brain raced with questions. How long had this been going on? Were they really planning to leave together? Did she still love me at all? By the time Emily returned home that evening, I had reread every sickening word a dozen times over. I waited for her in the living room, my jaw clenched. Hey, you're home early, she said breezily, dropping her bags. I was thinking we could try that new Italian place for dinner. Her voice trailed off as she took in my expression. John? What's wrong? I couldn't hold it in any longer. How could you do this to me, Emily? I choked out, pulling up the emails on my tablet and thrusting it towards her. She paled, her eyes widening in horror as she scanned the messages. Oh God, John, But I didn't let her finish. Years of built-up anger and betrayal came pouring out as I raged at her, demanding to know every sordid detail of her affair with Alex. She crumbled under the weight of her lies, sobbing and apologizing through it all. Finally, when there were no more tears left, an eerie calm settled over me. I looked at the woman I had once loved more than life itself, now a stranger. Get out, I said quietly. We're done. Emily didn't argue. She grabbed a bag and walked out of what had once been our dream home, leaving me alone to pick up the shattered pieces of my life. The first few weeks were a blur of pain and anger. I functioned on autopilot, going through the motions at work while my personal life lay in ruins. Nights were the hardest, staring at the cold, empty space in the bed beside me that Emily used to occupy. How could she do this to us? I'd ask the darkness, receiving no answer. It wasn't until a month later that the fog began to lift, replaced by a new realization. If Emily could craft such an intricate deception, perhaps I could orchestrate my own game. Not just confrontation, but strategic revenge. I started small, doing some digging into this Alex character Emily had been seeing. He was a young, charismatic artist struggling to make a name for himself in the cutthroat art world. The kind of guy who would do anything for his big break. That gave me an idea. I reached out, positioning myself as a wealthy businessman looking to invest in emerging talent. We grabbed coffee, and I laid it on thick about how impressed I was by his bold vision and unique perspective. In fact, I said, watching him lean forward eagerly, I had something bigger in mind. How would you like your own dedicated gallery to showcase your work? Alex's eyes went wide. Are you serious? That's incredible. I don't know what to say. I clapped him on the shoulder with a smile. Just say you're in, my friend. I'll handle the rest. And just like that, I had my foot in the door of his world. As I helped set up the new gallery, I not only got insight into Alex's shady business practices, but I also discovered a key weakness. His art, while visually striking, lacked any coherent commentary or deeper meaning. Armed with that knowledge, I began planting seeds of doubt throughout the local art community. A whisper here about his work being beautifully hollow, a concern there about his true passion and dedication to his craft, subtle digs that started chipping away at his reputation. At the same time, I turned my sights on Emily. We shared many friends in the art circles, ones who had once admired her creative genius. But a few well-timed sponsorships for avant-garde shows, exploring daring new artistic frontiers, allowed me to strategically exclude Emily's work under the guise of creative vision. I kept in touch with Emily when she texted or called me. I acted normal. She might even forget her betrayal. But I did not. I was just acting like a fool to plant seeds of revenge and waiting for the right time to strike. John, I don't understand why my pieces weren't accepted into the Uptown Gallery's new exhibit, Emily said over the phone one day, frustration clear in her voice. We've shown there for years. I feigned confusion. That's strange. Maybe they're going in a different direction this season? You know how fickle those curators can be. Our mutual friends soon began echoing similar concerns about Emily's commitment to her passion projects and overall reliability. After all, if she was willing to throw away her marriage, what else was she capable of? As the weeks rolled by, Emily's calls and texts became increasingly desperate, her career slipping through her fingers. I could hear the strain in Alex's voice as well when we'd meet about the gallery. Yet through it all, I maintained a caring front with Emily, listening to her frantic rambling about losing contracts and buyers with a supportive tone. Don't worry, babe, you'll get through this rough patch, I'd say with a comforting hug, even as I plotted her ultimate downfall behind the scenes. With every lie I weaved, every calculated move to dismantle their lives, the anger that had once consumed me melted away. This was no longer about the betrayal. It was a game I intended to win at all costs. Months ticked by as I methodically executed my plan. Emily's calls became more frantic, her texts increasingly desperate. John, please, I don't know what's happening. The Riverton Gallery just dropped my solo show without any explanation. I shook my head sympathetically when she turned up on my doorstep, eyes rimmed with tears. I'm so sorry, Emily, I wish I could help, but you know the politics in these art circles. Maybe it's time to take a break. Recharge your creative energy? She struggled to maintain her composure. A break? Are you kidding me? This is my entire livelihood, John. If I can't get shows, I can't sell pieces and, God, what am I going to do? Wrapping her in a supportive hug, I murmured reassuring words even as a tight smile played across my lips. Another gallery crossed off, another blow landing precisely where I intended. Meanwhile, my carefully curated friendship with Alex allowed me a behind-the-scenes look as his world unraveled as well. What had started as bravado and excitement about the new gallery opportunity descended into panic over lack of sales and a growing mountain of debt. I don't get it, man, he vented one evening over drinks. Your investors put so much behind this place. Why aren't things taking off like we planned? I shrugged, feigning confusion. Could be the economy, could be the fickle art market. You know how it goes. True visionaries are so rarely appreciated in their own time. Alex ran a frustrated hand through his hair. Yeah, well, if things don't turn around soon, I'm going to be out on the streets with all my visionary pieces. It was around this time that the first rumblings began to surface about Alex's unethical practices. Everything from inflating values to avoid taxes to pocketing deposits from fake sales. Each accusation, every purported client coming forward, added another crack to the facade of his reputation. Before long, the dominoes began to fall. Galleries stopped representing his work. Collectors started demanding their money back. The grand new space I'd financed on his behalf was a hollow, empty room. And through it all, my own life rolled on undisturbed, the picture of stability and well-sculpted domesticity, at least from the outside looking in. Because in truth, the Emily I once knew, the woman I had loved with every fiber of my being, was already gone. Just a ghost haunting the halls of the home we had once shared. Her world was ash, just as she had burned ours to the ground with her betrayal. As for Alex, He was merely an expendable pawn in my grand scheme for vengeance. The climax came roughly a year after that fateful morning when I discovered the emails. Emily arrived unannounced, looking like a wraith of her former self, hollow-eyed, unkempt, shoulders slumped under the weight of her actions. "John," she rasped as I opened the door. I I can't go on like this anymore. I've lost everything, and it's all my fault. Please, you have to forgive me. Let me come home, and we can start over, like before. I need you." I simply stared at her for a long moment before stepping aside to allow her entry. She moved woodenly into the living room, turning to face me with a glimmer of hope in her eyes. That's when I laid it all out for her. Every tiny step, every chess move made over the past year to strip away her world piece by piece, just as she had stripped away mine with her affair. I watched realization dawn across her expression, a fresh anguish contorting her features as she grasped the depths of my calculated revenge. "But why?" she finally managed to choke out. "Why go to such lengths, John? Didn't you ever love me at all?" A hollow laugh escaped my lips. "Oh, Emily, our life together was a true masterpiece, carefully cultivated and nurtured. And you defaced it all with your lies and deceit. I just wanted you to feel a fraction of the pain and betrayal that you put me through." Her face crumpled as I retrieved a manila envelope from my desk, sliding out the crisp divorce papers and presenting them to her with a pen. "This is your reward for your selfish actions. A life as empty and hollow as Alex's insipid art." Emily didn't argue, didn't plead any longer. She simply took the papers and pen in trembling hands, holding my gaze for a long moment before turning and walking out the front door. As it clicked shut behind her, I sank into the couch and let out a deep, shuddering breath. Checkmate. The anger was gone. The hatred towards the woman who had destroyed my life burnt down to smoldering embers. I felt nothing, just a hollow, echoing emptiness in the cavity of my chest where my heart once beat. I was the victor, yes, but this lavish house, cold and devoid of love, was nothing more than the ashes of the dream Emily and I had once built together. Revenge had been my salve, distraction from the crippling reality of the betrayal. But in going to such lengths to dismantle her life, I achieved the unthinkable. I had also dismantled my own. And now, staring into the empty husk of a future ahead of me, I knew true despair. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.